Ciao everyone and welcome to the analysis of the song that ranked 22nd to Sanremo Music Festival 2026. I am talking about Prima o Poi by Michele Bravi. Before diving into our beautiful song analysis, however, I want to share with you a little update. So I made a poll on the post section, community section of the channel, whatever you want to call it, where you usually find the quizzes, okay? Concerning how to proceed in August. This is the last episode of July, so for August I want to give you a choice. The first option is to finish the remaining 8 Sanremo songs, because this one is the 22nd. And then we are going to move to your request, because of course I still have the list of requests that you asked, so concerning the songs that you want me to analyze. Don't worry, I'll get there at certain point, it's only a matter of time. The second option, however, is to take a pass me the term summer break, as in, it's not that I'm going to stop to analyze songs, I'm going to switch theme, okay, for August. So in August we have 5 Sundays, so it means 5 videos. And this means that I'm going to do 5 videos that are not related to Sanremo Music Festival 2026 or generally Sanremo Music Festival. My proposal is to analyze 5 summer songs of this year, so the so-called tormentoni estivi. So far in the poll is winning the summer song options. You have until next Saturday, Sunday, it depends when I'm recording the video. Generally I record during the weekend, but generally you have until the weekend to make your choice. If the Finnish Sanremo Music Festival wins, next episode is going to be the song that ranked 23rd, and so we're going to finish all the songs of Sanremo Music Festival first, and then we're going to pass to your request. Otherwise, for August, I'm going to pick myself 5 songs that are going hard in Italy for summer 2026, and then I'm going to finish the 8 songs that are left, and then I'm going to follow up with your request. So don't worry, in both cases we are going to finish the Sanremo Music Festival songs 2026, and then we are going to see your requests. If you want an insight on how summer in Italy sounds like right now, let me know. As I said, right now is the summer option is winning, so cast your vote, make your choice. That said, back to Prima o Poi by Michele Bravi, the song of today. The translation is quite simple, sooner or later. So prima literally is before. Poi is then. It is, however, in this case, a fixed expression, prima o poi, which in English corresponds to sooner or later. What about the meaning? First, let's take, as usual, the statement made by the singer presenting the song. I tried to cast a gentle eye on the misfits, on people who feel out of place. It's the story of finding yourself out in the rain, soaking wet, standing in front of the intercom and thinking, I can't remember which button I'm supposed to press. The song is about that very moment, and this is quite literal because it is pretty much one of the core images we're going to find in the song. It is quite general, okay? To be fair, it's something that is not resonating as much with me personally, so this is one of those cases where my interpretation is going to be quite literal and syntactical, because I am struggling to understand this image myself, since it never really happened, probably because I'm not a very romantic person. But if it is resonating with you and you want to share why in the comments, I am reading, of course. But what about Lorenzo Coveri that like me is more focused on the lyrics? So Lorenzo Coveri said, Michele Bravi, 31 years old, making his third Sanremo appearance, also speaks of a love that has ended, a past that refuses to fade, and a memory that still hurts. The tone of the monologue, addressed to this general absent you, as we said and as we saw in other several songs, is the one of recrimination, the language, a casual, low register and highly colloquial style hovers between anger and sorrow. The story's protagonist has completely let himself go. It is a wretched nostalgia, finding no relief even in a perhaps Shakespearean quote, and we're going to see it because it's still towards the end of the song. So, despite Michele Bravi putting out this very general, how can I say, description, what it seems to be from the general point of view, so from someone who doesn't really resonate with this image depicted in the song, for the other human beings not empathizing as much with this song, it is, well, a love story that it didn't end well, okay? Syntax-wise, grammar-wise, generally language-wise, keep in mind that this is not only very colloquial and low register, it is also a stream of consciousness, okay? There are many syntactical constructions and structures that technically would be incorrect. But why? Because this is a stream of consciousness. So it's not about being correct. It's about communicating expressions, communicating feelings the way they come out. So it is very authentic and it is really how an Italian person who's going through this emotion and this situation would probably speak. So just keep this in mind. And that said, let's check these lyrics. We start with a verse because the whole construction of the song, the whole structure of the song is going to be very classic, verse, chorus, bridge, outro. However, what is not classic, usual, is how each section is built. You will see. So let's start with the verse. Lo so, fumare a letto è un brutto vizio. Piangersi un po' addosso, poi la notte non dormo mai, mai. È vero che il bicchiere è mezzo pieno questa sera, ma solo perché ho già bevuto una bottiglia intera. E mi manchi da morire, eppure il cane non la smette di abbaiare, e sarà che ogni volta che ti penso ricomincio sempre. And then of course this last line is going to lead us towards the chorus, but let's check the translation of this first verse. So, I know smoking in bed is a bad habit, feeling a bit sorry for myself, and I never sleep at night, never. It's true that the glass is half full tonight, but only because I've already drunk a whole bottle. The thing is, I miss you like crazy, and even the dog won't stop barking. And maybe it's because every time I think of you, I will start all over again. So, what is this first image? We have our protagonist that is pretty much heartbroken, okay? So, and the image is our protagonist sitting in bed, smoking, knowing that he shouldn't be doing that, and yet here we are. Then we have piangersi un po' addosso, which is an idiomatic expression, because piangersi addosso in Italian literally means to cry on oneself, so when you are crying on yourself. But it means feeling sorry for oneself, that's why I translated it like this, adopting a victim mentality, or constantly complaining about one's misfortune. So it's not a positive image that the protagonist, that the singer, then the author is trying to convey. And in fact, he's struggling to sleep. And then we have, it's true that the glass is half full. Okay, just like in English, seeing the glass half full, it means to see the positive side of something, as opposed to the glass half empty, okay? But here, there is a play on word, because it is true that the glass is half full, but only because I've already drunk a whole bottle. So I'm already drunk. I am happy, I feel happy-ish, but just because I'm drunk. So in the end, it is a negative portrayal of the situation. And then we have mi manchi da morire. When in Italian we say mi manchi da morire, è bello da morire, mi piace da morire, and so on. So we express our feeling, and then we use the fixed expression da morire, which it means to die for, okay? It is a little bit when you say to die for in English, but you use it with different construction. And in fact, here I had to translate it as I miss you like crazy, because I miss you like you are to die for, okay? Every time we put da morire, it is to highlight, to stress the feeling that we are expressing, accompanied by this fixed expression. And then we have that even the dog can stop barking. Why? Because probably this image conveys, again, distress, restlessness. Because if the dog barks, is because often they are missing the owner, is because they are missing someone, is because there is an issue. So again, this is another way to represent the difficult situation the protagonist is going through. And then, as I said, and maybe it's because every time I think of you, I always start all over again. To do what? We're going to find out in the chorus. A scorrere le foto fino all'infinito e ridere da solo, pensa tu che scemo. E in fondo ancora ci spero che prima o poi smetterai, che quando accendi la radio canti solo le canzoni ma degli altri, dovresti vergognarti che dopo anni non la smetti di mancarmi. And here it's really syntax-wise a stream of consciousness, because it's really word after word after word coming all together, not even following a correct syntax and structure. So, we said the end of the verse was, I always start all over again to do what? To just endlessly scrolling through photos and laughing to myself, imagine what a fool. And deep down, I still hope that sooner or later, as in the title, you will stop turning on the radio and singing only other people's songs. You ought be ashamed, because after all these years, I still miss you. This is the way I can convey you the meaning, okay, of this section. But literally wise, it's much more messy in this, like Italian wise. So we have, first of all, a scorrere le foto fino all'infinito. Already we have fino all'infinito, which is a repetition. Because you can simply say in Italian a scorrere le foto all'infinito. Of course, here we have we need a specific amount of syllables, so of course it's a song, but this is a repetition, okay? It is like saying but however, okay? E ridere da solo and laughing to myself, imagine what a fool, pensa tu or pensa te che scemo is very colloquial, because imagine what a fool, can you think how fool I am? This is pretty much the meaning. E in fondo ancora ci spero, and deep down I still hope, but again it's like e in fondo ancora ci spero che prima o poi. Ci and che prima o poi is again a repetition, because in Italian you can just say e in fondo ancora spero che prima o poi smetterai. Che ancora ci spero, it is a repetition. Of course, all of these repetition are because both the tone is colloquial, but also to stress the point. So, and again, it would be spero che cosa? What do I hope for? That sooner or later you'll stop turning on the radio and singing only other people's song. But syntax-wise would be that sooner or later you will stop, that when you turn on the radio, you only sing other people's songs. So you see how disconnected these sentences are, because you will stop that when you turn on the radio, you sing others people's songs. So like you sing literally only the songs but of others, literally. And then dovresti vergognarti che dopo anni non la smetti di mancarmi. Here it is a very good construction, but in English it's very hard to translate and to transpose, because the verb to miss and the verb mancare in Italian and in English have two different syntactic constructions. In Italian, in fact, when you say I miss you, mi manchi, the subject changes, because in English I miss you. So I, subject, make the action to miss the person who is missed, okay? The beloved person. Let's put it like that. In Italian is to me, you are missing, basically. It is the same concept of mi piaci, okay? In English, I make the action to like you. In Italian, you do the action to be likable to me, okay? Same construction, and that's why the translation kinda doesn't deliver as much as in Italian, because since in Italian the part that does the action of missing, okay, is the person who is missed, okay? He is the beloved person, okay? The center of the missing, okay? So it is you should be ashamed because you do the action to be absent for me, to be missing from my life, okay? So, of course, here it's not literally blaming the other person. It's, of course, ironic. It is a little bit as a joke. So, oh, you should be ashamed because you are missing from my life, okay? And of course, the fact that the beloved person sings the song when they turn on the radio, but only of other people, and it is a singer saying that. So, of course, you see the irony of the situation. And then we have the second verse. Ma guarda, casa mia come ridotta, che non faccio i piatti da una settimana. che non so l'ultima volta che ho fatto la spesa, con il disco di Battisti ancora lì per terra, con il cane che lo annusa perché un po' ti cerca. Ogni volta che ti penso, ricomincio sempre. So the last line is exactly the same as the other verse, but we have new pictures. So, how is the sorrow presenting itself? Just look at the state of my place, literally of my house, of my home. That, again, this very colloquial that, I haven't done the dishes in a week. That I don't know when I last went grocery shopping, with that Battisti record still lying on the floor and the dog sniffing it because he's looking for you a little. So even the dog is missing this person. Every time I think of you, I always start over again, which then is going to introduce the chorus, which is exactly the same as before. In fact, the chorus does not change. So again, we have a state of abandonment, as in not taking, like the sorrow is so deep and the nostalgia is so deep that the person is not taking care of themselves. So this sort of desperation, depressive situation. Then we have the chorus, again about checking the photo, being mad because the person sings everybody's song but not the one of the artist. And then we have the bridge. Se dopo anni non la smetto sempre a prendermi l'acqua per strada, che non ho l'ombrello nemmeno stasera. Tienimi la fronte, ma pensa io che scemo, che non penso che a te e sono sotto casa tua. So here we have the first part of that image that was introduced in the presentation of the song. Of course, the second part then is going to be completed in the outro. If after all these years I still haven't stopped, always getting caught in the rain on the way, so like on the road. Since I don't have an umbrella tonight either, hold my forehead. Imagine what fool I am, very similar to the previous construction, if you remember. Thinking of nothing but you. And here I am, right outside your place. In Italian, sotto casa tua. Because the idea is that generally you have like multiple floors. In many apartments, you start directly at the first floor because the ground floor often has the access to the basement. So mainly when we are talking about shared apartments, so when you have buildings with multiple apartments, generally even the lowest apartment is a little bit above the ground level. So every time you have to go at the door, the common door with the hall common to the whole building, you literally have to go down. That's why it's very common in Italian to say ti aspetto sotto casa. I am waiting for you, not in front of your house. Well, you can say ti aspetto davanti casa, but generally we use more sotto casa, so below, under, because this implies that someone has to come down, because even when you live in your own house, so not in an apartment building, you often have to still go down because, again, very often, due to technical reasons, the ground floor is reserved for the part of the stairs that is leading towards the basement or towards the parking lots and things like that. So, of course, it is much more common in Italian to say ti aspetto sotto casa. I am waiting literally under, below the house, because it implies the fact that the house or the apartment starts on a higher level respect to the central hall or the entrance of the building. And then we have the outro. E ti vorrei citofonare, ma non so più il tuo nome, a forza di chiamarti amore. Non so nemmeno adesso più chi sei, ma prima o poi smetterai che quando accendi la radio canti solo le canzoni, ma degli altri. Dovresti vergognarti che dopo anni non la smetti di mancarmi. Se dopo anni non la smetto di... And the end of the song truncates, so stops right here with this left unsolved, unterminated sentence. So, and I'd like to buzz your intercom, but okay, il citofono is the intercom. So when you go visit someone, for example, and you have to, well, buzz their intercom to, I don't know, ask them to come downstairs and things like that. And here we have probably the most beautiful couple of lines. Ma non so più il tuo nome, a forza di chiamarti amore. But I don't know your name anymore from constantly calling you love. So, a forza di is a fixed expression which implies, which underlines the repetition of an action. For example, a forza di chiamarti perderò la voce. From constantly calling you, I'm going to lose my voice. Literally, it means a forza di by pushing. Like, forza is strength, literally speaking, okay? It is the force. In fact, force in English has the same etymology of forza, because both terms are derived from Latin. So it is the force, the pulling, the strength. So, of course, this idea of pushing something, of applying a force, of applying energy, implies repeating an action. So that's why it would be translated as from constantly calling you love. It might be a semi-quote of Shakespeare from Romeo and Juliet, but I don't know. It was implied by Lorenzo Coveri as well, but it might be us flashing things. And then, I don't even know who you are anymore, but sooner or later you will stop. And then pretty much is the same. You will stop, then when you turn on the radio, you only sing other people's songs. You ought to be ashamed that after all these years I still miss you. And then we have the unsolved, unterminated last line, where he says, if after all these years I still won't stop, and probably it is implied again, missing you, loving you, and so on, and so on, and so on. That said, there is not much tea for concerning the performance or the lyrics itself, because it is something that the author wanted to convey. It is a type of breakup that I think many people went through. So there is not much to say about it. Very colloquial, classic story of a breakup. It got a 6 by Lorenzo Coveri, mainly because of certain pictures and imagery that are quite well represented. The only little bit of drama that Michele Bravi created is because of some statements he released while being interviewed. So you have to know that during Sanremo Music Festival, mainly on the Instagram pages, like social media and whatnot, it is it becomes very viral all that content that is like, oh my god, look, these artists supporting each other, wishing good luck to each other, singing together and whatnot. So cute, so nice. Oh my god, it's so beautiful. Well, in an interview, the interviewer told Michele Bravi is like, oh, it's weird to see everybody kissing, chatting, helping, singing, and whatnot. And then this is all behind the scenes while the singers are waiting to enter on the stage, because they are divided into blocks, okay, into groups, and of course they prepare one group at a time. So of course you have the group that is preparing, they pass some time together, then when they all finish, the second group comes in, and so on and so on and so on. And we had several videos of singers singing together while waiting, supporting each other and things like that. The interviewer, as I said, told Michele Bravi, like, it's weird to see you all alone by yourself. And he said, oh, guys, everything you see from the videos behind the scenes, it is all fake. If you really want the real shit, you should ask for our consent to record anything. You put hidden cameras everywhere, and then you get the permission to publish whatever comes out. This way, you will see how things really are. Now, I am sure that for certain things Michele Bravi is right, because we know that there are certain singers that are like fake, like Monopoly money. So of course, for the fact that some of them are fake kind for the likes, and two, because like they want to sell themselves like that as a persona, for that I believe it. I don't think that this generalization it is true, because we know that some singers are legit friends, and it makes sense because you are colleagues. So of course there will be people you can't see, like that you really hate working with. For example, for certain things, it is quite clear, because if you remember, just last year we had some drama, okay? And every now and then there is some drama. So we know that certain musicians cannot stand each other, okay? But it's also true that we know that some musicians, of course, being colleagues, some singers are, of course, friends. A good example is, for example, Samurai J and Safe, because Safe is even in the official music video of Ossessione by Samurai J. So of course they are friends, and chances are that what we saw in the behind the scenes of them like supporting each other and whatnot, it makes sense for it to be real, because since they are friends in real life, why not? So yeah, like I think that Michele Bravi exaggerated a little bit because of that. Probably is also because he really can't stand the portion that it is faking the kindness and whatnot. Because on his side, Michele Bravi can be quite direct and straightforward, so I understand why he can be pissed by certain behaviors. But I think that some nice relationships are genuine, also because like it's human beings. There will be some that are genuine and some that are fake. Like it's a numbers game. Anyway, that said, don't forget to vote on the poll. You have 1 week of time, more or less. Also, let me know in the comments what you think about Prima o Poi by Michele Bravi. That said, I hope you enjoyed. Grazie everyone for watching, and arrivederci.